What up, everybody, and welcome back to NFC Beast. This, of course, the only show tackling the topics that mean the most to your fan base in the NFC East. So we got so much to talk about today. We're going to ask if the Washington Commanders are truly a team that can win a playoff game. Why do the New York Giants keep gianting, and should the Dallas Cowboys run it back? But this conversation will begin with the Philadelphia Eagles, as it has on the national scene and so many times here recently, and that is because the Eagles just won their 10th consecutive game, knocking off the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, in this one, despite all of the debate, Jalen Hurts went out there and threw for well over 200 yards with 2 touchdowns and no interceptions. So, Breland, you took up for him last week. Is it finally time for Jalen Hurts' haters to fall back?
I think it's overdue, right? At this point, I don't really care, to be quite honest. This whole narrative that they're not best friends anymore. I don't care if they're besties or not. Do your job. Very clearly occurred that they decided to put whatever was I'm sure there is something there between the two of them, but I really don't care. As long as you guys can execute on the field, do whatever you got to do off of it. That's not my concern. And the fact that AJ was the first target for that touchdown, I think just put everything to bed. Everything is good, and the only thing at the end of the day that really matters is the fact that they continue to win over and over. I think Jalen is an extremely talented quarterback. I've known that since 2022 when he, in my opinion, outplayed Patrick Mahomes in that Super Bowl. And I think it's enough is enough. This narrative is tired. It's old. Respect is due to that man.
10 consecutive victories. I mean, that is the story in of itself. But, Mike, coming to you here, just a week ago, Jalen threw for about $120, and it was said that the passing game was the problem with that offense. Does one game wipe all of that clean?
I'm not sure it wipes all of it clean, but, you know, Hurts is a Texan, and I've been following his career for a long time, from his high school days, obviously through his college career. He ended it at Oklahoma nearby here, and I've always loved his style, not just as a player. I wondered, frankly, about him as a pro quarterback from a physical standpoint, but mentally and emotionally, I've always loved the way he played the game, and I love the way he reacted to the news conference after this game, where in his typical style, very low-key, very understated, said, so this, everybody's good now? This is what we're doing, right? And that was a message being sent not just to the media, but to his teammates, reminding them, you know, we've won 10 games in a row. You know, the player on this team that's most responsible for that, that's me. Wow. I love that message from Jalen Hurts.
Wow. Lou, we'll come to you now, because prior to last week, people would have said that the person most responsible for that was number 26, Saquon Barkley, someone that you know well. So now, are you trusting Mr. Jalen Hurts, or is this still Saquon's show?
I always trusted Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is a winner. He was a winner in Miami. He was a winner in Oklahoma. And then he was a winner in Alabama. I'm not going to say Miami. Alabama, Oklahoma, and he's a winner now in Philadelphia. And yet, nobody ever trusted him. Nick Saban didn't trust him, pulled him in the championship game for no reason. The Eagles, when things go bad, they always put it on him. It's not him. He is a winning ball player. How can you not love this guy? He's a winner. And that's all that matters, right? Who cares how you win? It's that you win.
I agree with that. Who cares how you win? It's that you win. Breland, to kind of move this conversation forward, though, we do know that A.J. Brown, whom a lot of that conversation was focused around, had a huge game, went for 8 catches, over 100 yards that you alluded to, that touchdown on the board as well, but appeared to injure his ankle. If he is compromised at all for this weekend moving forward, what effect will that have on this offense?
I think it's huge, and everybody's banged up at this point. It's so late in the season. AJ was walking around just fine. He said he was just fine. We still have yet to obviously see the injury report today. It wouldn't surprise me if he got a rest day, along with Saquon Barkley as well. You know, you saw him exit the game, and Landon Dickerson is another concern, one of the offensive linemen. So we're kind of waiting on those injury reports here, but everything indicates that at least Saquon and AJ are fine as of right now, and are trending in an okay direction. So I'm not too concerned, but yeah, I mean, if one or both of them are missing from that offense, it's a huge deal.
Especially a huge game coming up against the Washington Commanders. We'll get into that a little bit later on. Lou, how quickly we forget earlier in the season when this offense was struggling and not playing so well, a lot of that was perceived to be because A.J. Brown was out of the offense. So could this be a big deal?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. You kind of stole my thunder there. Those 2 losses, he was out of the lineup. So, yes, of course it would be. He's a very, very, very important part of the whole equation with the Eagles. You can't win by just running the ball. You can't win by just passing the ball. You need a balanced offense, and that's what they have, a balanced offense. If those 2 receivers are going off and Saquon is running, they're unstoppable.
Mike, you know a lot about a team that's overcoming some injuries out there. As the Cowboys may not make the playoffs, but they have been playing through those injuries. How do the Eagles get this done?
Yeah, obviously it's a huge deal if he's out, and Barkley as well. The reason I would favor Philly over Detroit right now to win the NFC is because the Eagles have not been bitten by the injury bug as badly as the Lions have. So clearly, if Brown and/or Saquon are compromised in any way, it makes a huge difference to Jalen Hurts in that offense.
Brilliant. You get the last word on this. Take us home on the Eagles.
I think they'll be okay, right? And even if the offense is banged up a little bit, that defense has been playing so well at such a high level that I fully do trust this team. And to be quite honest, they already have their playoff spot clinched. Who knows if they're going to get that #1 overall, and the bye. I'm not really that concerned. I'm more concerned about the longevity of this team, and if they need to sit out, even if it's precautionary, go for it. Have a Kenny Gainwell day, Do whatever you need to do. Just make sure that you're healthy for the postseason.
Why has this defense been playing better? Because I think you make a great point there. It has been the offense. It's been Saquon. But that Eagles defense has been ferocious.
I think it starts with the coordinator, right? Vic Fangio came in here, and from day one, the conditioning, everybody describes it as an old school mentality, and this team has really, really embraced it. Now, they have some phenomenal pickups as well, not just, Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, but look at Zach Bond, a relatively quiet signing there from New Orleans, and everyone kind of went, okay, who's this guy? And he's playing lights out. That linebacker crew, Nakobe Dean coming back from injury and just having the season of his life. Everything is clicking and firing on all cylinders. And they're really playing for each other as well. And you can tell they're having fun. It's a tangible thing that you can feel. And I really just think, though, that it starts with Vic Fangio. Give him his flowers, and then everyone else just kind of falls in line after.
I'll tell you what, everybody here in the DMV is hoping that the Philadelphia Eagles play their first bad game in 3 months of football as they take on the Washington Commanders here this week in Northwest Stadium. The Commanders, of course, winners of 2 games in a row, barely holding on to knock off the lowly New Orleans Saints by a final score of 20-19. Defense had to stop a 2-point conversion on the final play of the game. Lou, the Commanders currently hold that 7th spot, but does this look like a team that can win a playoff game?
No.
No.
I don't think they can win a playoff game. In fact, I can tell you right now, they're lucky that Tampa Bay looks like they're going to win the South. The Rams look like they're going to win the West. If someone else sneaks in between those 2 teams, I'm not sure Washington makes the playoffs, especially if they lose this week. So they're going to make it most likely, but they are not a team that's going to win a playoff game unless it's a major upset. They are limping into the postseason, but they're getting great experience, and it'll be nice for them to at least get in. But I don't think they're a playoff winning team now.
All right. So, Lou, you think that we're getting just brownie points over here. You're giving us participation points here in the DMV. Mike Ducey, tell him why he's wrong.
Must be nice to be covering a team that's going to probably make the playoffs, but you're worried about them not making the playoffs in a real convincing way, right? I think Washington probably gets in. Obviously, Dallas is hoping a few things happen that make that last game of the year between those 2 meaningful. But to Lou's point, they are trending in a bad direction right now. The Commanders are. And if I had to pick one way or another right now, predict one way or another right now, I too would say that they probably won't win a game in the postseason.
Okay. All right. So the 2 of you are going the other way. Allow for me to offer a counter here. I believe that #1, and we'll get to this later on, Breland, but #1, the Washington Commanders are going to win this Sunday right here at home at Northwest Stadium. That's #1. Point number 2, when you've got a quarterback like a Jaden Daniels out there, he has the potential to upset anybody except for Philly in the playoffs. We probably don't want Philly in the playoffs. But number 3, with Marshawn Lattimore out there playing that edge, he takes away one side of the field, Breland. Takes away one entire side of the field. This is a better team. If they don't play the Eagles in round 1, they can win a playoff game.
Maybe. I mean, any given Sunday, right? I don't know. I think I'm gonna go more with Mike and Lou on this one. They are trending in a bad way. But that being said, though, we can talk about this matchup on Sunday. Anything can happen. Remember, NFC East are weird game. They're always weird. So who knows? But yeah, they got to really get it together if they want a shot at this. I'm sorry, Chad. I'm rooting for you, kind of, not really, but kind of.
Fine. We'll see. We'll see in about a month or so. We'll revisit this conversation right about then. But coming up, we're going to talk about Jerry Jones opening his mouth the way that Jerry Jones does, and the New York Giants continuing to do what they do best, which is race towards the bottom. All that and more next on NFC Beast. I tell you what, we are 10 minutes into the show and we haven't talked about the Dallas Cowboys yet. Let's go ahead and get to that, Mike, because on his radio appearance on Monday, we heard from Jerry Jones. He praised Mike McCarthy, saying that this team has proven that they can play through adversity. He also credited defensive coordinator Zimmer, saying that you're starting to get the best and see what that defense can truly become, while alluding that these two men's futures may be connected. Did that signal to you that Jerry Jones is thinking about running it back?
First of all, the headline of the Jerry radio appearance this week was the fact that he was talking about holiday delicacies that he and his family enjoy and have through the years, one being raccoon and the other being squirrel, and sometimes brain of squirrel. So there's that. You can take the boy out of Arkansas, but you can't take the Arkansas out of the boy. Anyway, I don't know what Jerry's going to do. You know, it's so like Jerry to say one thing right now and then totally do an about face in a few weeks. So the fact that he's showing such public support for McCarthy and now Zimmer as well, I think means absolutely nothing. Again, if I had to predict right now the future of McCarthy, it would be that he will not be back here next year. It might be more likely, frankly, that Mike Zimmer is back than is Mike McCarthy. You know, Jerry goes a long way back with Zimmer, and to be fair, that defense has played well in recent weeks against, granted, subpar competition. Micah Parsons returning has a little bit to do with that as well. But the fact that Jerry's making a big deal about talking about both these guys at the same time, I really don't think it means much.
All right, so look, check this out. Now, we have this conversation just about every week, and I know everybody wants to see McCarthy gone, but if we look at his actual record, 12 wins, playoff appearances, you lose your starting quarterback early in the season, and you still have a chance to finish right around that 500 mark. Breland, I think that he should be considered for an opportunity to come back again.
Seriously? Are you for real right now, Chad? I don't know. I don't. This team, I think, has expectations, right? Every single year, we constantly hear this national narrative, which, in my opinion, toss it out. At this point, it's tired. But we constantly hear this: the Cowboys are Super Bowl contenders. They're going to be. And it never happens. They can't make it past the hump. Philadelphia, I mean, I know they were a little rough here, but we fired coaches for much less. We're much less here. And I think it's time to go, right? You gotta make those moves in order to become what you consistently tell the entire nation that you are year after year. I feel like there's a joke in there somewhere about Jerry Jones eating squirrel brains while running this organization into the ground like a bonehead. I don't understand why he continues to say what he needs to say. I understand he has to fill some radio time because he committed to it. But dude, just stop talking respectfully and just run the football team or hand off the reins, because clearly things aren't working for you.
Lou, Breland talks about expectations, right? And yes, every year the Cowboys are mentioned in the conversation of a Super Bowl, but that's whether they deserve to be or not. Has Mike McCarthy not put forward on the football field one of the more consistent products in his time in Dallas?
Yeah, I'll go with that. But I don't know. I said this before. Why would Mike McCarthy want to come back? I'd rather eat squirrel
Facts.
brains than have to coach under Jerry Jones. I think it's a much easier, like this. I like Jones, squirrel. I'm going with the squirrel because I'll tell you right now, I don't want to coach under Jerry every week. Am I going to be the coach? Am I not going to be the coach? And it doesn't matter if you win 10 games. Am I going to be the coach? He loves to torture these guys. I will take squirrel brains over coaching the Cowboys right now. That would be my choice.
All right. Well, one job that someone may want to have even less than the job in Big D is the job in New York City. The New York Giants are still at 2 wins on the season. Another pathetic outing by this New York football team. Lou, one of the few bright spots has been the play of rookie wide receiver Malik Neighbors all year. He's up to 90 catches, still got 3 games to go there. Will likely get over 1,000 yards. The last wide receiver that we saw with an impact like this as a rookie was one Odell Beckham Jr. wearing that red, white, and blue. Ultimately, which one of these guys will have a more indelible impact on the franchise?
Well, it depends how you weigh out indelible impact. Okay, OBJ had a great, he was good rookie, but then he started making love to the ball net, and then he started getting into arguments with other players, and then he took his team right before his only playoff trip, and they went down to Miami.
That's right.
And they went on the boat, and they had a wonderful time. What better way to get ready for Green Bay than be on a boat fishing and having partying in Miami? So, if he does half of that, he's already gone past gone OBJ. Malik will be fine. He's actually a football player. So I don't think, as long as you don't have the other junk that goes with it, I will say Malik Neighbors.
I got you. Hey, Mike, that boat, it looked like a fun time, though. I mean, did you see it? The fashion there, the Timbs with the jeans out in South Beach. It looked like a good time.
Well, and I'll defer to Lou on this, but it seems to me that, to have an indelible impact on a franchise, you need to be part of a team that's won on a pretty consistent basis. And Odell Beckham had more success by and large in that regard than Neighbors has had early on. Not that it's the kid's fault. I know that it's not, but it's just the way it is. I mean, Michael Irvin is remembered in a different way in this town than Terrell Owens was, and T.O. had some great individual seasons statistically for the Cowboys. So unless the Giants just get a whole lot better as a football team, I think Neighbors might be facing an uphill battle in terms of the way he's remembered by the fan base there.
And not only, and again, this is Malik Neighbors, this is his first season, so we're certainly not trying to throw any shade at Malik Neighbors, but Breland, when OBJ came out, not only his pregame catches, not only the one catch against Mike's Dallas team that will go down in history with that one-handed grab, but also, if you've ever covered high school sports, kids from all across the country were wanting to wear number 13. I had never seen that before. OBJ put a huge imprint on this franchise.
Yeah, he absolutely did. And I'm not taking credit away from either of them, but I think I agree with Mike here on this. We have to see what kind of system Malik Neighbors ends up in. He's obviously getting a new quarterback. He's probably getting a new coach. Who's the GM? Who's making the decisions here? We saw what Saquon is capable of this year, right? And just having his breakout season. I kind of feel a little bit bad for the kid. He's in a system where, as Mike just said, he has an uphill battle. And no matter what talent you have, if you don't have the pieces around you, you're not going to be as great as your potential anyway, if you don't have the horses around you as well. And so it's really difficult to tell what kind of player he's going to end up being. He's extremely talented, but is he going to have problems with everything else around him? We'll see.
Lou, get us out of here on this quickly. Yay or nay to Shedeur Sanders pairing up with Malik Neighbors?
Oh, you know what? I wasn't sure, but they seem to have a rapport. I mean, you saw the video of them playing catch outside the Heisman, outside the hotel. Why not? I mean, I think Shedeur has talent. They need a quarterback desperately. And Neighbors, to have 90 catches with this quarterback situation.
4 quarterbacks.
It's better than anything OBJ. And let's not forget, we talk about winning. They only made the playoffs once with OBJ.
Yeah.
Yeah. That one catch was great until everybody and their grandmother started doing the same thing. We found out it was the gloves. So, no, I'm sorry. I think this kid's future is much better than OBJ. OBJ, if you were up here in New York, guys, you would have left town before you had to deal with him. I will take neighbors any day of the week.
Odell Beckham Jr., one of the most outrageous lightning strikes in the history of New York Giants football. All right. Coming up, we're going to pick the big game of the weekend. That, of course, is the Washington Commanders and the Philadelphia Eagles. And we are going to give a bit of a Christmas present to the teams that we cover. That's next on The Beat. 'Tis the season for big games. A huge matchup going down this week as the Philadelphia Eagles, first place Philadelphia Eagles, come down to the nation's capital to take on the Washington Commanders in a 1 o'clock tilt to be seen right here on Fox 5. Mike, I'm coming to you first. Who wins this game and why?
I think Philly wins this game. I think, as I said, Philly's the best team in the NFC right now. And again, depending on the health of some key players. On offense, they can beat you through the air. They can beat you on the ground. I think the defense forces a couple of key turnovers, and I like the Eagles in this game.
Well, Mike, clearly you have been wrong on this prediction here. Lou, do you get it right?
Been wrong many times.
I like the Eagles. They're the best team in the NFC right now. Detroit's defense is too banged up. And let's give a shout out. We know we never do. Real quick, Howie Roseman. Let's give a shout out to him, the best GM in the NFL. Guys, anybody who coached this team, you know my feeling on Nick Sirianni. Once he gets fired, he'll be like Doug Peterson, and he'll be begging for quarters on the corner. Let's give a shout out to Howie, best executive in the NFL.
All right. That's 0 for 2 for the Washington Commanders. Breland, the Washington Commanders win this game, and I'll tell you why. Again, it goes down to Marshawn Lattimore. He's going to take away A.J. Brown. You got Mikey Sainristil still, who is going to slow down Devontae Smith on the other side of the ball, and that is going to allow for Bobby Wagner as well as Frankie Louvu to key in on Saquon Barkley, and we're tackling him all game long this week. Not in the fourth quarter. He won't break out then. We tackle him all game long, and the Washington Commanders come home with the victory. You take it over.
Sure, chat. You know, we should put a little wager on, a little holiday wager of some lunch or something between the two of us here. Yeah. But yeah, come on. The Eagles are on such a hot streak here. And even if the offense is a little bit banged up, I have full faith and confidence in this defense to be able to get the job done. Birds win.
All right, whatever.
Sorry.
Man. You know what they say about gravity, Breland? Everything that goes up eventually comes down. And this is the week that the Eagles come down. 10-game win streak will be out of the way. But we'll match that up and we'll talk about it a little bit later on. Okay, last question, because we're going to be off for the next 2 weeks. So to everyone who is watching this right now, we wish you happy holidays. Before we leave, though, we are going to give either a Christmas present to our team that they need and or state a New Year's resolution that our squads may need as well. Lou, the Giants 2-29, they need a lot. What do you got?
The list is too long. We don't have enough time. All I'd say, my resolution is this, and some of the NFL, please bring an NFL team to the tri-state area so fans of football can see what the rest of the country enjoys every Sunday, because we can't figure it out. Why is this sport so popular?
I agree with that. I mean, you think in New York that we would be able to attract that greatness. Not happening right now. Mike Ducey, what do you got?
The Cowboys' gift that they need is pretty obvious. They need 2 Washington losses. They need 2 Dallas wins. They need a whole lot of prayers to have any chance of getting into the postseason. New Year's resolution, maybe a muzzle for Jerry Jones. Woo! But I'd hate that because we just have too much fun listening to Jerry around here.
That was very good. Breland, take us home.
My Christmas gift I'm asking Santa for is a parade down Broad Street. I think this team is more than capable of doing it if they continue to play the game that we've seen them be able to play. Strong, fundamental football, taking care of business, and just sticking to what they know how to do best. It's coming home. It's coming home. I feel it. As long as they're able to take care of it.
Oh my goodness, we are going to clip that post right there. My Christmas gift to the Washington Commanders, I think that Christmas came early last week as Marshawn Lattimore came back. Again, a way to shore up that defensive side of the ball and take away that other team's number one receiver. New Year's resolution goes out to the entire DMV who has supported this team through 25 years of down years and is right now supporting them right now as well as they move forward. So my New Year's resolution goes out to the fans here of the nation's capital. Keep loving this team, keep supporting this team, because in JD5, we should be on our way for some time to come. Again, I want to wish each and every one of you out there watching a happy holidays and a happy new year. And that's on behalf of all of our esteemed panel. Thank you all for watching NFC Beast.